They're even bringing in the enemy that's partially responsible for you being sold over here. The one that cut off your name. They're even bringing this man into your midst. And not only are they bringing this man into your midst, they call himself the true Jew, but they have lowered themselves into learning their ways. Many of our people around the country are learning from the heathens. And when a true prophet is in their midst and teach them what thus said Yah, instead of them hearkening unto his voice, they will ostracize him, curse him, and attempt to remove him out of their midst because he's telling them something different than the heathens is telling them. The heathens is not going to teach our people this. For as they do, then they can't explain their presence in their midst. So I'm trying to show you how great circumcision is. It is so great that the New Testament did the very best that they could do when they wrote the book to try to condemn circumcision. So our people that embrace Christ would never want to be circumcised nor have their little ones circumcised. We find in the book of 1 Corinthians in the New Testament, the 7th chapter, seventh chapter. In 1 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter, the 18th and 19th verse.
Is any man called being circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised.
In other words, as if he can do that anyway. How, if you're circumcised, how are you going to become uncircumcised? I looked at that for years trying to figure that out. What you going to do, cut some skin off his feet and sew it on his penis or what? How do you make a man uncircumcised circumcised? And he's circumcised, and you're going to make him uncircumcised. How do you do that? Does anyone know? Any of the nurses or doctors in the house? And they have, if any man called circumcised, let him not become uncircumcised. And they said that to say this: if many man called in uncircumcision, let him not be circumcised. So they're acting like they're being fair for Christ. If you're already circumcised, then you don't have to worry about becoming uncircumcised. Right. But if you are uncircumcised, now you don't have to be worried about becoming circumcised. Yes, sir, brother. Not time for questions now. Write down your... All right. None of them brothers down sitting next to you know what they read? That's 1 Corinthians 7th chapter, the 18th and 19th verse. Just grab one of them little big-headed fellas next to you. They are, I know the whole row. Somebody got to know where we're at. But that's all right. It's all right. You all right, brother. Everybody got it? Anybody else want to know where we're at? 1 Corinthians 7th chapter, the 18th verse. If you got it now? If any man call being circumcised, let him not become uncircumcised. But if any man called in uncircumcision, then I got a question mark, huh? How's that a question? Maybe I'm not understanding this right. Is that a question? It is? Is any man called in uncircumcision? That doesn't sound like that sounds like a statement to me.
No, it's a question.
It's a question?
Yeah, he says, any man being called.
All right. Professor Israel said it's a question, so we'll make it a question so we can go on. Any man called in uncircumcision, let him not be circumcision. Then the 19th verse says, circumcision is nothing. Here the greatest covenant, one of the greatest covenants that Yah established. We wouldn't even be Israel if it was not from the result of Abraham becoming part of the covenant, or the key instrumental part of becoming in a covenant with Yah. Circumcision is nothing, the New Testament says, and uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments of God. In other words, what's that? That's nothing anyway. We're not under the commandments. We are under grace. We live by faith. And we believe that we have faith in Christ, and we don't have to worry about keeping the commandments. We don't have to worry about staying away from our neighbor's wife. We don't have to be worried about sleeping with another man. We don't have to worry about kidnapping somebody's little child. We don't have to worry about eating pig and eating dogs and rats. We don't have to worry about these things if we have faith in Christ. Now, who would want to have faith in Christ if that's going to make or turn you into a complete idiot, a complete heathen that has no laws, no morals, no values? Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments of God. Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called. Or thou called being a servant, cannot for it. In other words, if you call being a servant, Nat Turner, don't worry about trying to be free. Just be happy you're a servant. Abide in your calling. Well, Nate Turner was a Methodist preacher, but he could see something wrong with the New Testament. And that's why he started reading the Old Testament, where Yah said, let my people go. And pretty soon after he started getting an understanding of the Old Testament, did he have a revolt and went against Master, because he can see that Master had tricked him with this love your enemy. Love them that despitefully use you. If your enemy hits you on one cheek, turn the other to him. If your enemy take you to the court and sue you at the law and take away your coat, give him your cloak also. If your enemy compels you to go 1 mile, go with him twain. I say, love them that despitefully use you and persecute you. Now, who does this? Is this the morals of the Christian? I don't know no Christian that believes in that. No nation believes in that. If a nation believes in that, they wouldn't have an air force, an army. They wouldn't have a defense system. And I don't know no country that don't have a defense. They all believe in that. Or should I say, none of them believe in that. But this is what this is saying. Furthermore, if we go back into the book of the New Testament a little further, let's go into the book of Galatians, just to show you how contrary this book is to Yahweh's word. go to the book of Galatians. Look at the 6th